Hello Aquarius, thank you for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Bonefire Tarot by Gabby Angus West. Supportive Oracle cards, Wisdom of the House of Night, and on the back here above the barcode, it's who created it. Okay. Let's go ahead. Ooh, sunshine just came out. Bam. I didn't think we were going to get any of that today. This already feels like this is a long trip. Like, these, like, let's see. This is all going to happen all at once, isn't it? Yep. All face down, not till it happens. Okay. Let's grab a couple of these. 1, 2, 3. Alright. So, yeah, that makes sense there. When you're coming into this whole situation, I kind of feel like you created it, actually, because you got the Ace of Swords there. Ace of Swords with the Page of Cups. And I feel like this is one of those situations where you don't like how things are currently, so you're like, I don't like how this is, so what can I do to change things? What can I do to move things around? Like, the Page of Cups is telling me the situation you came from wasn't all bad, but it wasn't, like, exactly what you wanted. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the page is kind of like a 13, 14-year-old, in my opinion. And it's kind of like they can't wait to be an adult where they can, you know, drive and live their own life and do what they need to do, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of like that energy. It's kind of like things aren't bad, but they're not as good as you'd like them to be. So you're taking active steps forward to change them to make them what you want them to be. Seems easy enough. Now, the thing is, when you're starting into this situation, part of that Page of Cups is also connecting to the Six of Cups. You're taking steps to change circumstances because if it keeps going on the rote routine, it feels like it just keeps going around in a circle. It's like it never quite makes the grade. It never quite gets where you want it to go. That's really what's pushing you forward to change things. Because kind of like, if I let it just keep going the same way it has been, I'm never going to get what I want out of the situation. It's never going to get to the point where I want it to be. It's never going to mature the way I want it to. It's almost like Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day being a 14-year-old. Like, you never get older. You never are able to get a license to drive. You can't legally drink. You can't do a lot of things because you're a minor. And just like Groundhog Day, it just never seems to change. And you're like, I'm really over this. So, you're moving forward trying to change things. Now, it is a resistance you're coming up against, but it's kind of strange. You're moving forward trying to change things, but you're not getting support. It's the Hanged Man, which tells me, when I feel the Hanged Man coming in, you can't live in that energy. I usually say that. You can't live in that energy. It's a transition energy. Nothing is happening. You're not getting the support, but I feel like your words are having weight. Like, the one thing you can do with the Hanged Man is you can talk to the Hanged Man. They can't get out of that problem right now. They're kind of stuck for now. But you can send them information. It's almost like if somebody's stuck on a cliff and you're on the other side, you can shout to them and give them information and messages and tell them what to do. Maybe they can't do anything about it right now because it's raining, but when circumstances change, they can think about what they will do to get themselves out of that mess. You know, it's that type of thing. Now, you're not getting the support, and I feel like this is very aggravating for you when it first starts. I'm noticing this card on your side. Now, yes, it is deceit, and that's the card that popped out there, but it doesn't have to mean that you're deceiving somebody. Alright, maybe in this case, well, what is the deceit? What are we saying? Like, you want certain things out of this situation. You're just not bringing that forward. But that might be the way to do it right now. You're trying to motivate other people to move forward, and you're just like, you're playing. It's kind of like playing a poker hand. You're not letting people you're not letting people know what you really have going on here. You're not letting people know what you really want, the motivations behind it. You're kind of keeping that to your chest. You're playing it like a poker hand. I feel like this is kind of being mirrored with this inaction. Um, but you also, like, I feel like there's another thing with this deceit card. You might be suspecting that someone is deceiving you. That's another way this card comes through, like detecting or feeling somebody's deceiving you and being suspicious of that. Almost like somebody has their own ideas about what they want to do. I don't really feel like that's a problem here, but you might be wondering, like, since nobody's moving on this and I'm trying to get things going forward, are other people doing their own thing and they're just not telling me, like, what is happening? I feel like this inaction is really bothering you. That's the short end of it. The short end of it. I don't feel like this is going to be a problem with the deceit. You might not be saying exactly what you want to happen here. You might be playing it close to your chest. Also, I feel like for a lot of you though, you're kind of suspicious and feeling like the fact that there's nothing moving here, nothing happening. You're just like, well, are they doing something without me? Or are they just not telling me about the plans they already have? It's not really a good moment, but it's not the worst moment because it's transitory. It's going to move on. All right, so there's a weird energy coming in here, like this need to rest. I don't see anything happening right away, but I feel like communication is coming back your way because the magician is below the four of swords. And it's almost like this is like the thawing out of the hanged man energy. You're getting information back. Like somebody had to sit on it, think on it, go over it, mull it over a few times. And I get like the magician is coming back towards you with like not just information, but about what's coming forward next. They're like telling you like here's the heads up about what's coming next. This seems to balance things out a lot for you. You got the Knight of Cups. You're realizing something is going to happen. It's something that you want to happen, but you want to take initiative and move it forward. You're ready to move forward, but I feel like you're also kind of like this. It's kind of like ready to go, waiting, chomping at the bit. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm ready. I'll do my part. I'll help it move forward. But the magician's the one in control. The magician is the one telling the knight if they can or can't move forward. And right now you can't because nothing is happening at this point. But you're like, I'm all in. All right, finally, we're going to do something. I'm all in. Let's start it. Let's do it. And they're like, well, not yet. We're not ready yet. We got to wait. It's coming. I'm letting you know what we're planning, but it's not coming in just yet. You got to hold to the side a little bit. Stay at the ready. Stay at the ready, and I'll let you know. And you can take forward and do these things, but not yet. Just not yet. All right. So this moment, this whole moment is like. Let's see what's going on here. Oh boy. Okay, so this is not expected by you. This whole thing doesn't happen until it happens. It doesn't happen until it happens. It's not apparent until it happens. Like, there's really not a lot of heads up about it until it actually comes into play. Because the magician has their own idea about what they're going to do and when it's going to happen. You want to move forward, but I do feel like you're working with this magician energy, kind of like, all right, I can wait to make it come forward the way you want. I mean, I really don't have another choice, do I? But I'm ready. When you're ready, I'm ready. Okay. This like supersedes the situation. This whole line is what happens next. You got the devil card popping in here. Somebody else pushes forward their own agenda. That's the devil card. Like, I can't... In this situation, I'm not really able to paint that in a pretty way. It just feels like there's a lot of, like, somebody selfishly doing what they want to do. It's not the magician. It's not you. Somebody else is pushing things forward and deciding they're going to do what they want to do. And they're changing the whole... Like, it's almost like they're changing the landscape. Once you see this happening, you're not impressed. The way this deck does the Five of Swords, it feels like the Five of Wands to me. And I kind of honor the picture, just to be fair. Because I do feel like you're going to be very upset. Somebody else is superseding what you were told was going to happen. What the magician told you was going to happen, what the magician was putting together, somebody else has stepped in the way. It's like... If anybody's going to get in the way of the magician, I'm not surprised it's the devil. Just kind of like saying, well, that's nice that you have plans, but this is what I'm doing and I'm doing it now. You're not impressed with this. You're very upset with this. This is not what you were told was going to happen. You were ready to help. You were all at the ready to go forward when it was time to go forward. What was going to happen, what the magician told you was going to happen, you wanted that to happen. You were ready to support it. You were going to further it forward. You were going to do what you needed to do. The devil card came in. That person did what they wanted to do. They didn't care what somebody else wanted. They knew what they wanted. They pushed it forward. You're not impressed. You're very upset with this, and you're very vocal about this. I see you trying to kind of stop this energy. I don't see you successful in doing that. I'm getting the Death card here with the Three of Wands, which is telling me whatever the magician wanted to come forward, the devil squashed that. And it's kind of like that passed on, something different came forward. Three of Wands is telling me things are off, set and sail off in a new direction, and it's just happening. I actually feel like the devil and the magician are getting along at this point. It's not what the magician wanted to happen. It's not what the magician was putting together. But the magician is also one who's like, well, this is what happened. We ended up with instead of all the grapes we wanted, we ended up with a bunch of lemons. I guess we're making lemonade. I guess that's what we're doing. Lemon bars. We're doing things we can do with lemons. That's what we're going to do today. That's what we got. That's what we got to work with. So I feel like these two energies are working together. That's one of the reasons you're not able to change this. They got the Lover's card. Like, I feel like this is literally the magician and the devil working together and deciding, all right, well, this is what happened. I guess that's what we're going to do. And the devil's like, that's right. That is exactly what we're going to do because I'm not backing down. This is just a really weird moment for you is what I'm getting. You got the Four of Coins, Four of Pentacles. You still want what the magician was telling you because you were excited about that. Remember, you had that Knight of Cups. You were excited about that. That's what you wanted to happen. You wanted that to happen. And now that it can't, or now that it's not, you're still holding on and hoping you can turn it around and make it come forward. I'm just trying to get it so you can see that card. I'm not really sure you're going to have a chance, but I don't see you giving up right away. I'm seeing you still trying to make things change after the fact. You got Message with the Star card. You still have hope here. You're still trying to make things come around. You're like, no, I like this other plan the magician had. I really wanted that to happen. I don't want to let it go. I'm going to try to see if I can bring it back in, or at least bring some of it back in, something. You got the Message, like you're communicating, you're trying to change things, you're trying to move things around, and you're kind of like, hey, this would go better if we did this, like the original plan, like we were supposed to do. You're not letting it go, but you are getting some feedback. You are getting some response here, so it's not completely looking like it's out of the question. You might be able to revive this. The Death card made me think that wouldn't happen, but I'm getting that you are the one who's keeping it alive. If you didn't keep it alive, it would be done with the Death card. It literally would be done. The Death card is telling me the magician is not furthering this plan anymore. You keeping it alive and not letting it go, that's keeping it going. What I'm seeing this really end at is like there's a lot of restrictions. It's not going to go to this plan. The magician's plan, the original magician's plan, is not going to happen. Even though you liked it, it won't go that way. You can pull in some of the other elements though. You got Rigid coming in here with the Fool in the Page of Swords here in the environment. I do feel like you bringing it forward and keep talking about it, you might be able to bring in some aspects that mean a lot to you, some aspects, but the total thing won't happen. The Death card is here. I feel like the total thing is not an option. It's up to you to decide what you really want and what you really need, and to balance that out and try to bring it forward. Realize that this energy here with the Rigid, I feel like the Rigid is there especially, like, work within the rules of this new direction. You know what I mean? If you wanted to go south, and that, for example, you wanted to travel south and you ended up traveling west, why did you want to go south? Did you want to go south because maybe there was more water down that way? The temperature was better, more appeasing to what you were looking for? What was bringing you, like, what was really pulling you south, right? And can you kind of steer the course westward a bit going more towards what you wanted. For example, if you wanted to get closer to water, and that's why you wanted to go south, if they're going west anyway, if you go west and a little north, and there's a bit of water there, will that still work? 'Cause maybe like still going west but going north a bit. Maybe that's the negotiable here. Depending on what it was, do you know what I mean? They're saying you're gonna have to work within your parameters. Like the way it was gonna work out isn't gonna happen. So for example, like I'm getting the whole thought with the south thing again. For example, I live in New York, so going south here, like a lot of people go to Florida, which is okay. But a lot of people I feel like go to Florida because they like the warmer weather. So like I feel like if we're doing the same analogy, if I was gonna go west and I wanted better weather, if you go west far enough, I want to say over in the Seattle area, is that Washington State? It could be, my geography could be off. But like there's a spot where you get across the mountains and the ocean brings forward better, warmer currents. On one side of the mountain, it's nice. On the other side of the mountain, it's what I have. Anyway. So I'm thinking like, it's kind of like trying to work with these situations and trying to find out, what do I really want? Why did I like this so much? Why did I like the magician's plan so much? What really made me excited for that? And it's kind of like, all right, now that we're going west anyway, what other options do I have? Like, I can't go south. That's obviously out. But what is it that what was the most important thing? And how can I kind of put this in here so I can still get what I want? Because there is some leeway for you to be a little bit more happy, to get more of what you want a little bit. The total thing's not going to happen. The rigid there, again, I feel like it's going to take some work, but I also feel like you're able to do it. The whole point of this reading, I feel like, is like, don't give up on something you actually want. Just, you're going to have to drill it down. What's most important from that plan? Drill it down. What's most important from that plan, and then center your efforts on making that piece of it, the most important piece of it, happen. You can have that if it means enough to you. All right, I think we're there. All right, I'm going to wrap this up here. I hope that helps. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.